website right now and download my free course on alternate picking mastery. It contains 5 essential exercises that will take you to alternate picking mastery faster than you can imagine. And then I've included my method of how to lay out a practice plan in just 1 to 2 minutes that will absolutely boost your results like nothing you ever tried before. So go download it right now. It's free. Okay, so we're talking about speed here, of developing it, and if you haven't watched the previous 2 videos, please go back and do it. There's one thing I want to talk about, and that is time. It's an important element, and it really messes with people's heads when we practice, right? And it did with me. It's the source of frustration, because we practice and we don't always get the results we want. But everything matters. That's what you need to focus on and keep in mind. When you reach a plateau and you practice, it doesn't seem to matter anymore. You do the same things, but you don't get the same results. Just know that it's impossible to have a cause without the effect. The effect might not occur at the point in time you think it does, but if you do 1,000 repetitions of anything, it actually makes an impact. Whether you feel it, hear it, or sense it, it makes an impact. It's not possible not to. So when you reach your plateau, just keep practicing. Right? Be patient. It's going to come. Just don't, to hoot with the reward. Just keep practicing, and it will just come, tenfold because you didn't give up at the plateau. You just kept practicing. Sometimes it's also a good idea to take a little break and then go right back into it. But when that's said, it's not the full story. Because if you practice a little each day, you can practice forever without attaining any, without grouping those notes and getting to that high level of speed. You need intensity, and I've been talking about that before, but it's necessary to say here when I say that, any repetition has an effect. But if you really want it to have effect, you need intensity. And that doesn't mean that you have to practice like 10 hours a day. It means that it's better to practice like a crazy person for 2 weeks than taking the same practice time and the same amount of repetitions and spreading them across a year. Practicing something a little each day is also good for some purposes, but you cannot replace going berserk for a week or a day, like, practicing 3 or 4 hours in front of the TV for an entire month and then getting in all of those thousands and thousands of repetitions. Because it's intensity, and the reason why that works is very simple. The brain is a saver. It wants to save resources all the time because that's directly connected to survival. It doesn't give the liver, the intestines, anything more resources, more energy than it needs, because that would be a waste, and it never wastes stuff, right? That's why if you work out for a year and you stop working out, your muscles start really dwindling away very fast because the brain doesn't want to maintain them when there's no need for it. You're not lifting any heavy weights. It doesn't need to lift anymore, so it eats itself up, basically, the body, right? And the same thing goes here, that it asks, okay, how important is guitar playing? How many resources do I need to allocate to the purpose of learning, right? And if you practice like 15 minutes a day or have a couple of 100 repetitions of something each day, that's nice. But the brain just goes, okay, let's become efficient at that at some level, right? It doesn't go, oh, let's bring that to the highest level of human capability. Right? It doesn't do that. So you have to put in thousands of repetitions in a very short period of time, create an explosion in the brain where it goes, wow, we need to do something about this. He was just using an immense amount of resources. He spent focus, he spent energy, he spent hours time on this. We need to automate this thing. We need to get good at this so we can spend less resources on the same activity, right? Because it tries to save resources. So it tries to automate the process of what you're doing. And that's what we want, right? We want the automation of playing 3 notes or 6 notes at one time as one unit. Go back and watch the other videos if you don't know what I'm talking about, right? Automation is the key to this amazing level of speed. So in order for the brain to do that, we need to push it like lifting weights. We need to push to a level where the brain says, okay, we need to grow now. And if you don't, it's just going to maintain the current level of skill, ability, muscle, right? So you need to push it, and pushing it when it comes to practicing means putting in an inordinate amount of repetitions in a very short period of time. Then you can go back to doing nothing for a week after, right? And take a break and then do the same thing the week after or, 3 weeks after. But you need intensity. You need to have a Saturday in your pajamas where you practice, all day in front of the TV with a good conscience, because you're really developing a magical skill here, right? So that's the key, or one of the keys anyway, but it's a vital, essential key. That's why people who practice a little each day never, ever, ever, ever attain the levels of skill they want. It's simply not possible. The brain will not allow it. Subscribe for more free videos. Do it. Do it now. Do it.